I'm Heath Lambert. You're listening to Marked by Grace, a podcast applying the grace of Jesus to all of life. Authentic community in a big church. That's the topic this week on Marked by Grace. Maybe there is a different issue you'd like me to address, and if that's the case, you can send that issue, that topic, that question into markedbygrace@fbcjax.com. That's markedbygrace@fbcjax with an x.com. I love to get your questions. And honestly, the headline for the topic of this podcast is just a little bit tweaked from the question. Let me read you the question as I have received it. How do you cultivate true, authentic community in a ministry in which people can grow and change, as opposed to just a bunch of acquaintances where people are just kind of passing by and living their own life? So you see the way I tweaked the headline. It's not exactly that this is how do you cultivate authentic community in a big church. This is about how do you cultivate authentic community in a situation where people are tended to be distracted and they're not really pressing into relationship. That could happen in a big church. That could happen in a small church. I phrased it this way, and maybe this did not come from somebody at First Baptist Church, but here at First Baptist Church in Jacksonville, we have a very large church, and we actually spend a lot of time thinking as leaders in our church about how do we take our big church and make it small? How do we take all of these people and press them into community and relationship in a way that is helpful? There's a lot of things we do about that institutionally. There's a lot of things we say institutionally, and we always are pressing people to get into an area of service, to get into an area where they're growing. We have grow groups here and Sunday school classes, and there's all sorts of things that you can do to get into a closer, tighter relationship than just the great big room on Sunday morning with all these people coming in and out. But I don't want to answer the question institutionally this week, because that's going to vary from one church to another. What I want to do is answer it in principle and take this concern and say, okay, so I'm in a ministry and this person feels like there is not closeness happening. They're feeling disconnected from relationship, even though they are in a ministry, and they're saying, hey, this doesn't feel like we're cultivating authentic community. It feels like there's just a bunch of acquaintances where people are passing each other by. And this person is trying to figure out how to get through that. Let me answer that and address it by reading Galatians chapter 6, verse 2. It says, bear one another's burdens and so fulfill the law of Christ. I want to zoom in here on the language of one anothering. It says, bear one another's burdens. That language of one another is, it's almost a technical term in the New Testament. It happens dozens of times. Here we're told to bear one another's burdens. In other places in the New Testament, we're told to teach one another. We're told to love one another. We're told to serve one another. We're told to encourage one another. All these instructions we're given to do with one anothering. And honestly, this is a key to understanding New Testament relationships. Relationships are huge in the Bible. They're huge in the New Testament. So much of the New Testament is about how we relate to one another. So this is a big issue. And a huge key to that is these one anothering passages. The way I ask people to think about these one anothering passage here, again, it's bear one another's burdens. It might be teach, might be serve, might be encourage, might be love, might be bear with one another. But whatever we're told to do to one another, that key language, the way I ask people to think about it is of a merry-go-round. So when I was a little boy, some of the most prime real estate on the playground at recess was the merry-go-round. And the way the merry-go-round works is some people sit on this great big wheel that rotates on an axis. Some people sit on it and other people stand and push. And one of the things you learn about a merry-go-round is it only works if people are willing to trade places. If you're the kind of person who only wants to sit on the merry-go-round and be spun, you're going to find that the people around you get exhausted. If you're the kind of person that loves to push the merry-go-round and let the other people enjoy the ride, you're going to find that you can only do that for so long without a break. This theme of a merry-go-round helps us understand the one anothering passages. When we do this to one another, I do it to you and you do it to me. When we bear one another's burdens, when we love one another, teach one another, instruct one another, whatever it is, what that means is there are times when I'm on the seated end of the one anothering equation. There are times when I need to be pushed on the merry-go-round. There are times when I need to be instructed. There are times when I need to be encouraged. There are times when I need to be served. But because it's one anothering, because I do it to you and you do it to me, there are times when I'm on the end of the equation where I'm standing and pushing. There are times when I need to instruct you. There are times when I need to encourage you. There are times when I need to serve you. And the idea is that nobody can or should do only one for very long, but we always have to be trading places. We have to be doing it to one another. I think that's the key to the answer of your question. How do I get into real and authentic relationships? I'll be honest with you. I find I don't know your story. I didn't read your whole email. I don't know the exact context of your situation, but I will say from experience, I've been in church ministry for my entire adult life, and I will say I have a common experience that it's typically the case that a person who feels like we just don't have close relationships, it feels like we're disconnected and I want more. It is often the case, not always, but often the case that the person who says that is being kind of selfish, okay? They're being a little selfish and they're wanting other people to do for them. And so what they're noticing is people aren't doing these things for me that I want them to do, whatever it is. And it's generally kind of selfish. All right. I've noticed that as a common theme where you got a selfish desire to get a selfish thing. And I think the command in the Bible for us is I should not sit around, if the one another's are true, I should not sit around on the relational merry-go-round and wait for you to push me and get frustrated when you don't push me or push me as fast as I want to be pushed or push me as often as I want to be pushed. What I need to do is I need to stand up and I need to do some pushing. I need to take on some personal responsibility for these one another's. I'm not going to sit around and wait for you to do for me. I'm going to stand and do for you. And you know, one of the things that's interesting about the decision to say, hey, I'm going to stand up and I'm going to push, I'm going to serve, I'm going to teach, I'm going to encourage, I'm going to love. No one is stopping you. There is, if you're seated and waiting and being a little selfish, wondering why this isn't working the way you wish it would work, you're not responsible for that. But at any point you want, you can stand up and serve and instruct and in love and invest. I am the senior pastor of a large church, and I'm just saying nobody ever needs to ask me for permission to take some relational responsibility to invest in other people. You can go do that whenever you want. And so if you're noticing that there is a lack of relational investment, there's a lot of acquaintances that are just passing by, the best thing you can do is take these one another passages seriously. The best thing you can do is to take some responsibility to bear the burdens of the people in your community and make an investment. Why don't you try listening? Why don't you try serving? Why don't you try making an investment in people? And here is what I have found. The people who make the most and the biggest investments are the people who receive the greatest return on that investment. I want to be clear. We don't do this selfishly. It's not like I'm going to do this thing and then I'm still going to sit back and wait for you to do these other things. And if you don't, I'm going to get frustrated. I'm just saying this is the way the one anothering passages work. When we invest in others, we reap what we sow. I honestly, I'll just tell you, I found this to be true of me. I've had more than my fair share of medical troubles. And one of the things my wife and I have talked about the blessing of the medical issues I've dealt with, one of the blessings, there's been a lot of frustrations, but one of the blessings is that I always wind up just feeling really loved. Because what happens is all of these people that we have made investments in over the years, they wind up making investments in us. All this pushing I've done on the relational merry-go-round. Sometimes you have to lay on that merry-go-round and have brain surgery, and you need others to push you. And I've just found when you are a person who is invested in people, you don't need to work very hard to see them invest back in you. Now, if you're the kind of selfish person who's just like waiting to get pushed, that kind of distorts this biblical teaching on relationship, and it won't work. But if you are the kind of person, as this person is, who's wanting to cultivate authentic community, I say you take the one another's seriously, you make an investment, you will find nobody stops you from making an investment. And you will find when you are the kind of person who's interested in making the relational investment of pushing that one another merry-go-round, you will not find any shortage of people who are ready to push you when you need investment to be made.